I'm super thankful that over the last few weeks we were able to actually meet in person for worship. In both of those Sundays, we talked together as a church that there was the possibility that we would have to enter back into a shutdown, and as a church we would be unable to meet. Little did any of us know last Sunday that on Monday our governor would issue a directive shutting down churches once again. After a lot of thought and prayer and counsel, I believe it is wise and best for us this Sunday to adhere to those guidelines and that mandate and not meet this Sunday. I know that's not what you're wanting to hear, and it's certainly not what I wanted, but I think it's best and it's wise, at least for this Sunday, and we'll see as the Lord leads in the weeks ahead. Be assured, we're going to move everything online so that you can worship the Lord with us by way of a sermon and some other content this Sunday, and I hope you'll make your plans to do that. As you're making those plans, let me give you an observation and then just a handful of recommendations that perhaps will help you have a great Sunday. Here's the observation. Over the last few months, I've noticed that when a person has given up and just stopped doing worship at home on Sunday, that what they have done is open the door to an increase of spiritual struggle. You see, when we observe the Lord's Day and we really worship on the Lord's Day, what we're really showing is that we value God and we value His Word. And when we throw that out the window and say, you know what, it's just going to be a work at home day, or hey, let's go for a hike, or you know, let's just spend time together as a family. When we do those things, we're elevating other things above the value of God and the value of His Word. And when we're valuing things more than God and His Word, it shouldn't surprise us that there's an increase of spiritual struggle. I'd really like to plead with us in a pastoral way. Don't give up on Sundays and don't give up on worshiping at home. I know it's different, I know it's difficult, I know it's not easy at all. I also know it's not fun, but it's important. It's important for our spiritual health that we observe the Lord's Day to the best of our ability. So I now enter into the recommendations. How can we make Sunday a really special Lord's Day? Perhaps you recall that early on in this time of quarantine, I shared with you that if I could go back to the beginning and kind of teach us some things differently, what I would teach us is not to look at Sunday worship as an order of service, but rather look at some key elements and components and just make sure that your Lord's Day, the whole day, has these elements as a part of it. Now, they're alliterated so you can remember them very easily. The first one is sleep. Now, what I mean by that is not to sleep in the message, though you may be tempted to do that. Instead, think of it as really a day of rest. And maybe that does mean sleeping in a little bit longer than you would normally on a day. Maybe it means you schedule in a nap in the afternoon. At minimum, slow your pace and really try to get rest. For some of you husbands, you have some pretty tired wives. You can serve them by making sure they get some rest on Sunday. So as we put together the Lord's Day, put in the ingredient of sleep and put in the ingredient of a sermon. I hope that you'll tune in on either YouTube or Facebook Live as we premiere the sermon, and that you'll sit down with a Bible in front of you and a pen and a piece of paper, and that you'll truly listen to the sermon and take heed to it, apply it to your life, share it with someone who could be benefited from it. But at the heart of the day, really give your attention to a sermon. A third component is the component of serve. Let's work hard to serve someone outside of our household, someone outside of our family unit, someone within our church family. You've heard me say this so many times, and I just want to keep saying it again and again, but the demise of a person always begins when that person begins to exist solely for themselves. You and I, as Christians, have been gifted by God with particular spiritual gifts. And though we cannot gather together as a church, it's imperative that we keep using and stewarding those gifts. Each of us need to be serving someone else. And I would encourage you now, before Sunday, to make your plans of service. That's just practically good advice for all of us. It gets our eyes off of ourselves, gets our eyes off of the world and all of the problems that abound, and focuses on someone else. So you're serving, but there's a fourth component, and that's the component of silence. This one's going to take some work, and maybe husbands and wives are going to have to work together to make this possible. But in the noise of this world, we need silence. Turn the news off. Turn the television off. Turn the music of the world off and just tune your ears to the voice of God and the voice of God alone. There is great value in a long walk where it's just you and the Lord talking. Pray, meditate on Scripture. Sit down in the backyard in a chair and write in a journal some of the things that God is teaching you. Each of us needs a little bit of silence to process everything in the midst of all the noise of the world. Now, finally, the fifth component is the component of special. And I'm not going to tell you what to wear, but could I encourage you not to watch the message in your pajamas? Get up, take a shower, get dressed, make the day special. You see, the Lord's Day is a day in which we celebrate the resurrection. The resurrection is the evidence that God wins. It does look in the world right now that the wicked are winning, but they're not. The scoreboard of an empty tomb reminds us every Sunday that God has won the victory. And so we celebrate, and we celebrate by how we dress and what we eat and how we conduct our day. This is why I encourage you now to be thinking about Sunday. Let's make Sunday special. I'm praying for you. I know that this news isn't what any of us wanted, but I'm thankful for technology that enables us to still stay together by way of this online content and to grow together. I know that God will get us through all of this. I know that He is good. I know that He is sovereign. I know that He is wise. And we'll be okay. Let's just stay faithful to the Lord. And my prayer is that Sunday will be a special day for you. So as I close, I say affectionately this way: I can't wait to see you on Sunday by way of video. Lord bless you this week.